We've had some great dialogue here. But I wanted us to explore a little bit. Bob, you've talked about the concept of these bioclusters. And then there's, I think that different companies or different organizations have resources available where they're trying to figure out how to get universities to come to them more often. So we talked a little bit about Caliber out of California. Eli Lilly has their Open Innovation Drug Discovery Program. Recently we've had some communications with Syngenta for their Thought Seeders program. And I learned a phrase from Roy, network by proxy. So maybe you can kind of walk through this in our last few minutes about these kinds of resources, and if so, how should we take advantage of them?
Okay. Well, when I said network by proxy, I mean that's really my job. Is I'm meeting faculty. I mean primarily in the marine biotech. My old background was in ag biotech. I'm very interested in the technology generally and transferring it across major disciplines and sectors. And I go to a lot of networking events with industry folks, and when I hear some industry saying, oh, we're working on this, or we've got this problem, then my job is to say, I know somebody that might be able, I can introduce you to. So that's what I mean by networking by proxy. So
you're our friend.
Yeah, exactly. But then you were talking about Syngenta and their thought seeders and things, especially the ag biotech companies. They are the big six. There are 6 global ag biotech companies in the world, and they have pretty much all. They do everything themselves. I mean, there isn't a huge academic research like there is with NIH. So they're taking the ideas from academia. They're very open to open innovation. They platforms where they tell you what things they're interested in, and as academics, you can say, oh, I may be able to kind of help with that. And you can get an idea of what their real needs are. When you're working in academia, you kind of think, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread and it's going to be worth $1 billion. Industry, especially the bigger companies, they're taking a multi-decade global view. They know what the real problems are and what technologies are out there that may be able to solve it or not, but they're open to new ideas. So it's kind of very important to kind of communicate with these companies to find out, does what I'm do, does it have an effect for your company?
What's the question again? That was networking by proxy.
That was and a bit of open innovation. Yeah.
Getting your foot in the door.
Yeah.
How do you get your foot?
Yeah. Some companies have programs.
Yeah, they do. So I've already alluded to institution-wide grants. That's at the level of a chancellor and dean of research and the president of a research institute like Merck Research Labs. So, working together on those. But at an individual level, I'll follow up on the Caliber idea. So Caliber is yet another relationship at a very high level, very rich level between industry and academics. But it's not the large, heavily funded Pfizer money going to UCSF or Johns Hopkins, right? It's setting up an institute. Merck spent $100 million and brought Pete Schultz from MIT and lately at Scripps, brought Pete Schultz to head up the California Institute for Biomedical Research. Caliber is the acronym, and that's a competitive Not so dissimilar from the NIH, although it's focused on new targets, so that all those purple files in your office, Marty, should be looking towards Caliper to file a single-page application, like you would start with an NIH grant, and to see if you're competitive. And the Schultz and the people there, independent from industry, but supported by Merck, provide all the critical review and then the approval to fund a selected number of grants. And then all of the translational tools needed, very rich tools and techniques there in Torrey Pines. And the new targets, the basic research discovery and innovation here is very quickly, again, the reference to industry's pace, quickly translated to the next level, first in man, through animal models, toxicology, pharmacology, et cetera. So that's Caliber, and it's something that's open to all ECU investigators on a competitive basis, but life's competitive, so that's sort of the way it is.
And I think if I've learned anything from the competition that I've been exposed to of trying to run a research lab, it's just be persistent. I've been told by companies, no, we don't want to do that. The majority of the grants that I've written for the variety of funding agencies haven't been funded. So I think that if I can identify anything in terms of, what can I do, I would just say the persistence, I think, is really the key thing. I mean, if someone tells you no, then fine, but keep going. I've even been told no by one of the companies that we worked with, and then a year later, hey, you know what we should do? We should do, and it was kind of, yeah, well, I guess you thought about that a year, So I think the persistence thing is just, don't be afraid to be told no, whether you're working with industry or whether you're submitting an NIH grant, just keep going, I think has been if I can say, I don't think that we've necessarily been lucky in the proposals that we've been able to get, but I think it has been because we've just kind of kept our head down and kept trying.
And that's interesting that you say that. I'll make one last remark before Carlisle goes into Q&A, but that persistence is what we're hearing from our innovators, and I see Sharon sitting over there, and I know that she's one of our most persistent faculty, is to just keep going, because I think they've been told no for a variety of different reasons, and sometimes it's because whoever says no doesn't really understand. At some point, we do need to kill the baby, but but is it really a no, or is it a keep that persistence going?
And
Good
it's important to do your homework. You have to know what their problems are, so that and propose your solution in a way that makes sense to them. You can't, depending who you're talking to, you can't expect them necessarily to take that leap that's in your head on why this should be the greatest thing since sliced bread. So kind of think of it from their perspective. Why should they want to work with you, and explain it in that way? So.
Good point.